This model of the Luffing Jib for the Liebherr LTM 1500 mobile crane comes in a box that's a similar size to the box that the model crane came in. So it is quite large, and the first thing that comes out with the trays is the assembly manual. And if we take a look inside, it's reasonably good. There's a full parts list of what's in the box, and then there are photos which describe the assembly of the full jib. It tells you most of what you need to know, but it gives no information about all of the possible configurations that the kit allows. For that, they should have reprinted some of the documentation from the real crane. Inside the box there are lots of parts, and they're well packed. For the assembly, we'll just see how some of the main parts connect together. And to join the parts, the kit makes extensive use of tiny brass nuts and bolts. Special tools are provided to make it easy, but just make sure you don't drop the nuts and bolts on the floor because they are difficult to find. There's no need to over-tighten the nuts and bolts, and a good connection is made. So here we've made a short fixed jib, and the kit is nice because there are plenty of the moving parts replicated on the kit. Here we have a guide pulley that pulls up into place and it clips over onto an adjacent part, although it is just a little bit springy. One of the unusual connectors is the bolts that join the jib to the boom head, but because of paint thicknesses some of these are a tight fit, so you may need to scrape some paint off the inner bolt sections, and these probably would have been better unpainted. With all of the bolts loosely inserted into the jib foot, you can push them home and make the connection into the boom head. For the luffing jib, one irritating job is to take the luffing bridle up to the A-frame without the thread coming off the pulleys. One way you can do it is to replicate how the real crane does it, and you can run a line on the winch drum all the way up to a small pulley on the top of the A-frame. That line then runs back and attaches to the luffing bridle. So here you can see how you would dismantle the luffing jib. You wind in on the luffing winch, and as you do so the main winch unwinds. By doing that you keep the tension on the luffing ropes and they don't jump off of the pulleys on the bridle, with the result that there's less swearing. Looking at some of the main parts, the metal boom extension is very detailed. It has a full mesh walkway and there's even hydraulic hosing on the inside. However, one compromise on the kit is that many of the lattice sections are plastic, such as this one, and it was presumably done to keep the weight down because this is a big jib when it's fully erected. However, under certain lighting conditions you can see a colour difference between the plastic and metal parts. The luffing pivot is a complex part and it's all metal. And again the detail level is very good with mesh walkways, although on this part the plastic cylinder jacket is off colour. Having said that, overall it is a very nicely engineered part of the kit. And the working details are really nice, with one example being the connectors that are provided which could be used during an erection pose. Also there are clip-on metal handrails for the A-frame, although they were a tight fit on the review kit. Some of the other parts are also highly detailed. This is the connection to the boom head, and it's got a spooling wheel and more mesh walkways. This part allows an offset angle to be set on a fixed jib, and here the main cylinder rams are all metal so the colour match is excellent, although the tiny rams have very yellow cylinder jackets. There are many other nicely detailed parts. All of the pulleys are metal and you can build up many combinations of jib. One of the features of the kit is that you can use the parts as transport loads. The main jib sections are accurately scaled so they will fit inside each other to enable efficient transport. And if you've got enough trucks you can always set up an interesting convoy. Now we'll use the kit to build up some realistic configurations, and we'll start with an unusual short offset fixed jib. That was the real crane, and you can see that the kit enables a realistic copy to be built and posed. Here is the crane again, this time with a tower crane section hanging off the hook. And as both the crane and the kit are very detailed, it certainly looks very good. Also good is the fact that the fixed jib is adjustable, so you can have it straight, or by adjusting the grub screws on the cylinders, you can use the hydraulic rams to set some different angles. So again, that gives plenty of display options, and the jib can be much longer if you want it. The other main type of jib is to go for a full luffing jib, as you see here on a reel crane. Here the jib has just been put together and now it's being raised to be used for dismantling a tower crane. This is quite a typical application for a luffing jib where the crane has to work in narrow streets. And in this case the luffing jib allows the crane to reach the tower crane situated inside the building. Of course this is only a relatively short luffing jib. The kit includes all the parts you need, including an erection dolly, and it's a nicely functional part which allows you to build some interesting poses. Here we've built the crane up into the configuration of our real life example, and again the result is a very authentic looking model. The kit does have enough parts in it to enable a full length jib to be built, and if you go for it that jib is about 1.6 meters or 5 feet in length. Fully assembled and erected, the overall model can be nearly 3 meters or 10 feet high. This is an impressively detailed kit by WSI, and its big plus point is the sheer variety of configurations that can be built. The only real negative is the slight colour difference of some of the plastic parts under certain lighting conditions, and these parts would look much better painted. Overall though, there's enough in the kit for it to be highly recommended.